So he's the co-host of the Orange Pill podcast. He's also the Johnny Appleseed of Bitcoin, if you will. And we just did a show together at Adopting Bitcoin in El Salvador. Let's please welcome him to the show, ladies and gentlemen, Max Keiser.
Hey, Graham. Nice to see you and finally get to be on your show. This is great.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. I really wanted to have you on the show for several reasons. One, we talked like 2 years ago and you kind of predicted, you didn't use exact names, but you predicted what happened with FTX and these people like Sam Bankman-Fried and now CZ. And you tweeted out yesterday that he was one of the guys that you and Stacy, when you got to El Salvador, were like, we don't want these kind of people coming into El Salvador. And the shitcoiners, you know, it's that's what they're doing. That's what they're up to. So for those of you who don't know, I'll just tell you real quick what happened is he's CZ, which is a settlement with the Department of Justice and the U.S. Treasury. He has to, looks like a $4.3 billion fine, and he's stepping down. And I don't know, he might be doing, it sounds like he's going to get a slap on the wrist. I don't know if he's going to do any actual time, but Max, you know, you've been predicting these kind of people. And when I heard you and Stacy talk at Pacific Bitcoin and also at Adopting Bitcoin, you talked about like, we've been deliberately trying to keep these people out of El Salvador. And I didn't realize you were talking specifically about this guy. So how do you see this? I mean, you predicted this was happening. Are you shocked by the fines and everything, or how do you see this?
No, it was all, as you say, it's all very predictable. So, I mean, there's a couple of points you make there. In the case of El Salvador, the country made Bitcoin legal tender, and then Max and Stacy moved there, and we went to work in helping the president create Bitcoin country. And so this meant, for example, passing some new laws, the new digital asset law, which states that Bitcoin is money and everything else is essentially an unregistered security. So we didn't we don't waste time trying to wade through 10,000, 20,000 different shitcoins and look at the nuance of this or the nuance of that. We're just saying that they're all unregistered securities, and we're willing to make that statement because there's a lot of benefits to it. The SEC doesn't have really any guidance on these shitcoins, these altcoins. They are making policy through enforcement, right? So every time they're bringing a lot of people into court and they're suing them for doing things with their shitcoins. But there's no real straightforward guidance from the SEC. So therefore, I think the laws in the U.S. are going to have to catch up to El Salvador, because El Salvador is very clear. And so that's why El Salvador has had the full benefit of being Bitcoin maximalists. And there's a huge benefit to being just Bitcoin and Bitcoin only and keeping all the shitcoins out. And we're seeing that benefit play out right now with lots of different things happening in El Salvador, and Bitcoin is a big part of it. And as far as CZ goes, you know, he was trading shitcoins on Binance. We've said all along that the SEC is eventually going to take them all down. They're all going to be in trouble. They're all going to be shut down eventually because they're all securities. They're all essentially unregistered securities. He's trading a bunch of unregistered securities. He's also engaging either allegedly, or he's now been essentially pleaded guilty to things like wash trading. You know, and wash trading is illegal, has been for a long time. Something like 50% of the volume on Binance is wash trading.
Well, can you explain what wash trading is real quick?
Yeah, it's basically just your trade. The CZ is essentially trading with himself. So he's buying and selling the coins in his own account to create the illusion of volume and to manipulate price. So that's illegal. And but all exchanges to some degree, either on purpose or sometimes through accident, end up engaging in wash trading. But in his case, in the case of Binance, the report that came out recently shows that they were 50% of the volume is wash trading and wash trading. Now, another point about this, Graham, is that because they're such a big player in the space and because they're engaged in a lot of wash trading, the SEC has been dragging their feet on the ETFs, the exchange traded Bitcoin funds. And they keep saying that we're not happy with the price discovery. We're not happy with how price discovery is in Bitcoin. And what they're referring to is really CZ, who's a big player who's manipulating the price of Bitcoin through wash trading. So now that he has really been neutralized and taken out of the picture, these ETFs are going to go through. So we have some news on the the GBTC from from Barry Silbert. Grayscale. And so it looks like they're getting very close to being listed. The trading symbol will be BTC, which is a great symbol. All the tens of thousands of stockbrokers in America and around the world will be able to call up their clients and say, put some money into Bitcoin, put some money into BTC, this Grayscale ETF. And the price is looking really good. The Binance news didn't hurt Bitcoin price at all. He was never really a key figure in the Bitcoin space. He was always a key figure only in the shitcoin space. People say, oh, CZ helped people onboard people into crypto. Well, maybe he did, but all those people are going to jail. So he helped to onboard people into jail, right? So he should get a prize from the National Prison Association or something, because he created a lot of inmates for these crypto traders. But he's not a Bitcoiner, and he has no impact on Bitcoin, and he had nothing to do with onboarding anybody into Bitcoin, minimally speaking. He's one of many. He's just a minor player in all of this, and now he's gone, and the price is going to rip higher because now we're going to have an ETF, and this bad actor is being taken out, just like Sam Bankman-Fried was taken out. He was a very bad actor, just like, I could name 20 people over the past 10, 11, 12 years since we've been into Bitcoin that emerged as bad actors and did bad things. And now pretty much I think he was the last of the major bad actors. So he was kind of on the Sam Bankman-Fried level. I don't see any other people of that scale, doing shady things. So I think really now the decks are clear for this bull market, this next phase in the Bitcoin bull market to get started and to really take us to the $200,000 to $300,000 coin level.
Yeah, and it was so interesting too. Like a year ago, when CZ was like publicly battling with SBF, and I was like, so these guys, it's like two like rival gangs saying, well, you cheated more than I cheated, or something. It was fascinating to watch that.
Yeah, there's a lot of cross trading amongst these players. They operate like a cartel. So in any cartel, and you see these cartels often. You see, for example, in the gold trading business is run by a cartel. The bullion banks and the major gold players and gold miners have a cartel, and they manipulate prices, and they do so in ways that are provably illegal. And there's always lawsuits being waged against them, and it never seems to bother, get in their way, right? Because the law is very flexible, and it applies to some people sometimes. It depends on a lot of things like politics and other factors. In the case of CZ, he was politically in a very bad place because he was interfering with Blackstone and all these major players on Wall Street who wanted to get their ETF listed, and they wanted to start making money. So this guy was getting in their way. So they decided to charge him with stuff and to put him into the courtroom doing stuff that they do, right? They wash trading is done by these guys all the time. And all these illegal practices are done by everybody all the time. And, but it's convenient to be able to charge somebody with that when you need it to get to service your own agenda. And so CZ is not one of the gang. He's not connected. He's not part of Wall Street. So they had to get rid of him.